Most people don't fear change. They fear becoming someone they don't recognize. Because deep down, we don't resist growth. We resist the unfamiliar version of ourselves on the other side of it. Welcome back to Bargain Brand Wellness, where self-care is on clearance, healing is not sold separately, and your inner circle or inner critic is gently escorted out of the building. Tonight, we're flipping the script. We're talking about forgiveness, not as a favor to others, but as a freedom for yourself. We're asking why we're still here, and not in where are my keys kind of way, but in that Alan Watts third eye blinking, am I the universe kind of way. We'll explore how divine opportunity doesn't always come wrapped in miracles. Sometimes it's wrapped in chaos, disappointment, or a parking ticket. And then we're going all in with a hard truth. Discipline might just be a myth. Not because we're lazy, but because identity is stronger than ever. So breathe in, loosen up, and remember, personal growth shouldn't require a subscription. Welcome to Wellness. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. All right, TikTok live. We're having a great time. Another fine Monday stream. Hope to have a lot of people on here. Stephen Cage, living the dream, one day at a time. I have to say, I say at work, I'm usually pretty much an optimist, but sometimes I like to be a little cynical at times. I always say, living the dream or someone else's nightmare, right? Some version of it. Glad to have everybody here. We're doing our thing. Right? First time listeners, right? Or return listeners. Remember, we're live Monday, Wednesday, Friday every week, unless you're told otherwise. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be here or be somewhere else. Yeah, do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. Right? We love having everybody here. We're excited for another good show. Right? I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. I know I'm excited for it. But we're just going to kind of hang out for just a few minutes while we kind of wait for people to pop in with us. While we're doing so, I'm going to get a little bit of music in the background, just hanging out with us. A little bit of music hanging out in the background. Coming to you are provided by the Relaxed Movement YouTube channel, copyright-free music. We appreciate just kind of have the background, just nice little vibe, right? Kind of fills in the void when I'm not talking, right? Or if we don't have a whole lot coming through with chat. I took the week off of work this week to kind of do some stuff around the house. I like to do that kind of every spring. Just my opportunity to kind of clean up the outside, start getting the pool ready, which the kids are really excited about. I start, doing my outside projects. We'll be starting this week, kind of building a grilling patio. Move our grills a little bit closer to our back door. Should be a fun little project. Look good once it's done. So, yeah, another fun Monday. We're excited to be here. Joey Twig, thanks for liking the live. I see you over there on TikTok. Joey, you jump around so much I can never tell where you are. No, I'm just joking. I appreciate you being here, buddy. Got a couple of viewers over on Facebook. Doesn't look like we have anybody on YouTube yet, but we're hoping to maybe get somebody over there. And then Twitch, we're relatively new on. This is our second stream on Twitch, I think. Yeah, we're hoping to slowly build over on Twitch as well. I like sending the likes on TikTok, and honestly, I really appreciate it. Now, I don't want to put any pressure on you, Joey. on Wednesday when we were on TikTok, we ended up getting 17,000 likes thanks to the boys. And we actually got a couple. We actually got some money. There was a little bit of a big gifter award over here on TikTok. We made, I think, a total like $4. We're officially monetized. But then we streamed on Friday, and it was a holiday weekend, so I'm going to chalk it up to a little bit of that. It was a holiday weekend, and we didn't really get much of anything on TikTok. There was some viewers coming through, but no one actually clicked on the video. We actually ended up having 0 likes on Friday. It was really unfortunate because we had a really good show. It was all about mindfulness. If that's you're in that kind of stuff, you can go back, check us out on Facebook. Check out the episode on YouTube. It was a pretty good episode. We just didn't really have a lot of people on. Like I said, I'll chalk a little bit of it up to, like I said, the holiday weekend and whatnot. But hey, we're back on Monday. We're doing our thing. We're here. We're having a good time. So we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep plugging, and we're gonna enjoy. Any of our viewers on TikTok, as you know, unfortunately, I have kind of a backdrop when we do our little recordings. Unfortunately, it's mostly on my other computer, so you won't really be able to see it on your end. However, you will still engage with you'll still be able to kind of engage with the content. I got a soccer game at 9:30, so I'll be off around 9. Hey, that's fine, Joey. That's fine. I appreciate you being here, helping us out, helping us grow. I appreciate you. Sorry I'm not at work this week. I know you guys are going to miss me. I needed a week off. Joey, I'm going to be honest. When you had mentioned about being a soccer, I didn't know you were any good at soccer. Or I never knew you played soccer. It's one sport I never played. I mean, I remember playing like gym class and whatnot. But it's one sport I never played like on a team. There's free donuts in my office. I picked the wrong week to be off. They were probably all the ones left over from that hiring event that they did on Saturday. I heard not a lot of people showed up. They're all popping good donuts. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really eat donuts like that. I like them, but messes up my sugar. Yep, there better be a live every day this week. No, it won't be every day, but it will be the normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I got a lot of outside work to do. And bagels. I do like bagels. I used to eat bagels all the time. I grew up on bagels. Bagels and cream cheese, or make a bagel sandwich. So good. A bit of turkey, cheese, and mayo. 1 point. So it looks like we've got some viewers on almost everything. We got a couple viewers on Facebook. We had somebody on YouTube, and we got a couple people on TikTok. So let's go ahead. I don't want to delay it any further. Let's go ahead and get into our first segment, right? And then we'll just kind of move on from there. 1 second. All right. Let's get into this. Let's be honest. Forgiveness sounds like one of those words you see on a farmhouse sign at Hobby Lobby. It's printed in cursive. It's next to the words faith and family. And it feels nice until you actually have to do it. But here's the thing. This segment isn't about the kind of forgiveness that makes you feel morally superior or looks good on a gratitude journal. This is about the kind that's gritty, that's painful, that's necessary. Because the truth is, forgiveness isn't about letting someone else off the hook. It's about finally dropping the anchor that's been keeping you stuck in the same emotional tide. And there's levels to this. We're not just talking about that one person who wronged you. We're talking about the deep roots. So let's dig in, not to reopen old wounds, but to finally stop bleeding from them. Your parents. Our parents are our first mythologies. Flawed gods we once believed were all-powerful, Forgiving them means acknowledging they were just people playing grown-ups with no instruction manual. Sometimes the pain came from good intentions, delivered with bad execution. I did the best I could. Might be true, and still not enough. Forgiving doesn't mean rewriting history. It means accepting it, learning from it, and not letting it write your next chapter for you. Forgiveness is not a reunion. You can forgive someone and still keep them blocked. Forgiveness is internal housekeeping, not an invitation to brunch. Just because the relationship had good moments doesn't mean the bad ones didn't matter. You can honor the love and still release the pain. Waiting for an apology is like waiting for a toaster to boil water. Forgiveness might come when you finally stop expecting one. Old coworkers, bullies, frenemies, people living rent-free in your memory over something they forgot they did, let that emotional Airbnb expire. Carrying resentment is like sipping poison and hoping they get heartburn. Free your energy for something better, like snacks or self-growth. You can forgive and still say, stay out of my peace bubble. You can't heal while you're still blaming the patient. Self-forgiveness means recognizing that past you did what they knew with what they had. Present you gets to be better. Shame is a liar that sounds like you. That inner critic. It's not a moral compass. It's a guilt-powered megaphone, silent with its compassion, not criticism. Look yourself in the eye and say, I forgive you. Not because it's poetic, but because it's essential. No one heals while holding a grudge against themselves. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's weightlessness. It's choosing not to carry what broke you so your hands are free to build something better. We're going to get a mic after we do every segment. We're going to do like a little toy mic, and we're going to do a mic drop. Probably a phone one so it doesn't make a whole lot of noise. Joey, I love it. Live, laugh, love. Live, laugh, love. Or as we say here on Bargain Brand Wellness, hydrate, meditate, and speculate. But I love the live, laugh, love. We used to have it all over the house. Darcy, I love the little emoji. Kind of looks like Boo a little bit with a heart on her butt. So forgiveness, right? We all have, that person who, as we said in the video, kind of lives rent free in our brain, right? Still holding on to, I don't necessarily want to say hate, but resentment, judgment. We said it the other day, and I firmly believe this is true. This is my personal and kind of professional opinion that there's no relationship in your life that doesn't have at least some form of resentment, right? No relationship or no interactions between you and the other person are ever totally just chipper, right? All love, all peace. There's always been at least some argument, some way, even if they just slightly annoyed you, that still lives there. And that's where whole, relationship building comes in. We talked a lot about that last week. Marita says you can forgive, but not forget. It depends on the hurt. I mean, honestly. I think that's true in a lot of situations. But maybe some situations, depending on the severity of it, it's one of the things like, do you actually forget? Right? Because let's take that. That's a very, very typical saying that we've all heard or we've all used. I can forgive, but not forget. What are you implying when you say that? That's what I want you to ask yourself. What are you implying when you say, I can forgive, but not forget? Right? Is it the same as saying, I can forgive you, but I'm not going to let you forget it. I want you to remember that time that you hurt me. Well, that's not really forgiveness, is it? Joey says, Tim's shower thoughts live rent-free in my head. And maybe in my hidden album too. I hope so. I haven't done the shower thoughts. I think we'll still do the shower thoughts videos as kind of part of this channel, because they're still clean, and they're kind of those weird facts that I just love to give people, even if they didn't ask for them. Maybe we'll still do those. The biggest question that people always ask when it comes to the shower thoughts is, am I actually naked when filming those, or do I have a bathing suit on? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Ashley says, you can forget something, but you can learn to move on. Or you can never forget something, but you can learn to move on. I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that you can learn to move on. Yeah, because you'll never truly forget. You can learn to, your life kind of moves. I think of it like this. It's kind of like whenever you lose a loved one, right? Someone close to you. Eventually, you're better. For most of us, not everybody, but in most cases, eventually, you're okay, right? And not better, but you're okay. And you kind of find a way to just push forward, and as Ashley said, you learn to move on. And I think that's what we just learn to do with all the things that we do in life: the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? We learn to just move on from it. Marita says, me personally, I always forgive, but what I won't forget is the way one hurt me, right? Hurt me once, shame on you. Hurt me twice, shame on me. That way I am in control. We won't let it happen again. Ooh. And move on, but stay vigilant. I like that. I like that aspect, that forgiveness. That's your aspect of control. I can't forget that thing. I'm going to let it slide. Right, I'm gonna move on, but I'm gonna be on guard around you. Right, there's some hurts you just can't let go, and I mean that's the truth of it. Joey says you better be. I will be. Just for you, Joey. Just for you. We're over here having a great time. If you're just joining us, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the follow button, click whatever button shows up on your screen based off the platform you're on, just to say hi. Say hi. The only thing I don't want you to click is any dislike buttons if they show up, unless you really don't like our content. I'd prefer you just put it in the chat and tell me what you don't like about it. Yeah, we're slowly building over here. We're live on Twitch. Haven't really had any engagement on Twitch. It keeps saying I have one viewer. It says the same thing on Friday. I'm pretty sure the one viewer is me, which doesn't make any sense. Why does it count the person who's streaming as a viewer? It's misleading. It really is. We're over here on this fine Monday. We're up to almost 2,000 likes over there on TikTok, courtesy of Joey Twig. I'm sure is one of them. Yeah, he is. I can see it over here on my screen. Oh, it looks like we gained a follower. Amy, thanks for following us. We'll be here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Live streaming on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Feel free to check out my personal accounts on TikTok or Facebook. If you want to check us out on YouTube, check out Bargain Brand Wellness. We're a relatively new channel. And if you want to watch us on Twitch, we're under BBW _live. The BBW is short for Bargain Brand Wellness, as well as, well, if you know, you know. Listen, this is a wellness channel. It's a fun, it's a, PG, friendly, family friendly channel, but we also got to add a little humor in. Life's too short to not laugh a little. Linda Marine, aka Mom, says forgiving someone who has hurt you is hard. It means letting go of what you think should have happened. It means letting go of that sense of justice we want to cling to. We were hurt, and sometimes Mom, you typed way too much. we were hurt, and sometimes we want that hurt to be experienced in all its fullness by the person who causes pain. But forgiving someone who has wronged you can be a healing process, more healing than the confrontation we think we need. To forgive is to set a person free and discover that the prisoner was you. Too often we think we have to feel forgiving to forgive, but it's an action more than an emotion. Forgiveness deliberately given and received can mean freedom. That was a long one. I don't usually read chats that long, but thanks. No, I absolutely agree. In short, don't give the person your power. Do not give the person your power. Take your power back from that person. You're lagging a little on TikTok. I don't think it's me. Anyone else lagging? I don't know. Everything looks pretty good on my end, but it could be. It could be. I think Channing and Caleb. So I think Channing and Caleb are downstairs playing Xbox or something. That could be. I kind of had a feeling that might eventually happen. We might have to update our internet speed. So thanks for letting me know, though, Joey. Maybe it was me. I don't know. It's not bad now. I thought you said it's bad, and I was like, damn, it's not bad now. It could. I mean, it's hard to say, but thanks for letting me know. We'll kind of keep an eye on it. Nothing's really popping up over on the TikTok side to let me know if anything is going wrong, which I think we're good. It might have just been you. Ashley says, I could not get the live to load on Facebook. I'm not sure why. First time I've had that problem. Well, remember, what was it the other night? I think it was Friday night. You were sending chats, and I did not see them until I clicked the refresh button. They weren't populating automatically. So, yeah. I think that's the only difficult for me of streaming on 4 different platforms, just trying to kind of keep everything together. Yeah, and making sure I don't miss anything, especially when we have people on different. The other one I don't have anybody on right now is Twitch, but I do want to use Twitch because I was looking the other day and they have a just chatting section. And for those of you who maybe don't know anything on or don't know anything about Twitch, it's a kind of a video gaming app or site that people watch other people play video games on. But they have a just chatting section that is actually really popular. When I looked the other day, there was 440,000 people on the just chatting. I'm thinking, well, there's a potential audience for us. You never know. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt for us. It doesn't cost anything for us to be over there. I think ideally, I want to try to push everyone toward YouTube because that's kind of like our channel, our brand. That's where all the videos, all the clips, all the shorts get uploaded. I mean, we still do things on TikTok, but primarily where we're at. Marita says, wow, that is deep, and I agree. Yeah. That was Chloe. I believe it. I appreciate the emoji. I will say, we're gonna keep doing this for another few weeks. But depending on what growth we do or do not see, I don't know how long we'll be on Facebook, because Facebook isn't necessarily a live streaming type thing. I mean, these are just events that I create on here, and I can still engage with everyone, but ideally I'm hoping to maybe push more of you to YouTube if possible, Twitch for those who actually watch Twitch, and if nothing else, TikTok. The only downside to the TikTok is you guys don't get the benefit of kind of the background music, right, if that even matters to you, as well as my shared screen that I use to kind of throw up little kind of stock video clips whenever we're recording. You guys don't get to see that. I don't know if there's a way for me to kind of connect those two because it's running off of 2 different computers. So, hello, Ashley Marine. Thanks for being here. Today's topic, or today's title, is why forgiveness is the key to success. We just kind of did our first segment on forgiveness. We talked about the people who need your forgiveness, right? It kind of starts with your parents. Not that your parents did anything wrong, but there's no perfect parent, right? There's things you still probably carry with you that still hurt you, right? Other people, your friends, your colleagues, people close to you, right? The people who have hurt you, whether intentionally or just not really giving much of a care, or and then yourself. I can't find your Twitch account. Is it under Bargain Brand Wellness or what? It should be under, Joey, it should be under BBW_live. I couldn't fit the whole Bargain Brand Wellness thing. I had to shorten it. Bargain Brand Wellness is kind of a long name. Whenever I was creating the email account for it, I probably should have done shorter instead of bargainbrandwellness@gmail.com. That's a lot to type out. But hey, we're doing our thing. Ashley says forgiveness also doesn't mean acceptance. That's very true. That's very, very true. Can we accept what someone has done, right? Because forgiveness is just simply just letting them go. You're no longer living rent free in my brain. I need you to pack your bags. I need you to move out. Right? We have other things to fill ourselves with, like Bargain Brand Wellness content, right? And we want those positive vibes, right? We're over here building our wellness army with my wellness warriors, my self-care connoisseurs, right? Where self-care is on clearance. We're probably not FDA approved, right? But remember, healing shouldn't require a price. Personal growth shouldn't require a subscription. Right, so welcome to our channel. Hope you guys are liking it. Oh, we finally have our first person. I see you over there on Twitch. Joe DeBro. Let's go. Thanks for being over there, Joey. I wanted to finally get a video. I know to get affiliate over there, I got a little bit of work to do. I might have to, for those of you who do jump on, I might have to get like 3 of you over there for one of our streams, because it says something about like needing 3 like concurrent or recurring viewers to get affiliate over there. But yeah. Danny G, love you too, buddy. Love you too. We're just hanging out here. We just got done talking about forgiveness. We're getting ready to jump into our next segment here in just a matter of a few moments. But while we're doing that, we're just hanging out, enjoying another miraculous Monday. I know people always talk about how much they don't like Mondays, or I got a case of the Mondays. I actually don't mind Mondays. I really don't. It's kind of the middle of the week that I'm not the biggest fan. Joe bro, I gotta go. Peace out, Girl Scout. Love you, bro. Thanks for showing up here. Enjoy your soccer game. Best of luck. Score a goal for Bargain Brand Wellness. When you score the goal, yell BB Dubs. I know I'm corny. Danny, I love Mondays. I don't know why. I mean, football season, Monday Night Football, right? Mondays for me, right, typically for work are not super busy. So it's usually kind of a nice way to kind of prepare myself for the rest of the week. I'll score a couple for the BBW. Definitely yell BB Dub when you score one. It's more Friday-itis for me than the case of the Mondays. Yeah, because I'm going to be honest. As much as I like Fridays and I look forward to them because it's ready to start my weekend, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten inundated with Friday meetings, and I'm thinking, y'all just want to start my weekend off on the wrong foot. So Mondays are usually pretty casual, pretty kosher. So I don't know. I like Mondays. Danny says Tuesday you have tacos and hump day on Wednesday. Right? And I mean, where'd the whole term hump day come? Is that because, like, you know, it's the middle of the week? Is that why? A little inappropriate if you ask me. But anyway, we're having a nice miraculous Monday. If you're rejoining us for another stream, welcome back. If you're new here, right, remember we're streaming live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out our Facebook group under Bargain Brand Wellness. It's linked to my personal account. If you want to join and get any updates over there. All right, check out our TikTok live, which is currently under my personal TikTok. I figured that's a good kind of starting point. I don't have a lot of viewers, but I figured it'd be a little bit cleaner than starting with the Bargain Brand Wellness name. Check out our YouTube, which is kind of where I'm really eventually want to start really pushing people towards. And then check out our Twitch under BBW_live. So So you think like, I mean, Tuesdays, right? You know, everybody loves tacos, Taco Tuesday. Hump day is Wednesday. It's kind of the middle of the week. Everyone kind of thinks like, hey, we're at the hump, we're on the downward slope. And then you have Friday. And then you have poor old Thursday sitting over here all by itself. No one ever really talks about it. I've heard people say Thirsty Thursday, right? I like saying Therapeutic Thursday, but Thursday doesn't give any love. Can we give Thursday some love? All right, let's give Thursday some love. Everybody shout out. You can type it in chat or just shout out, I love Thursdays. Thursdays feel like a day of love. Your wellness isn't helping me. I've been sick all weekend. LOL. Well, it's not that type of wellness, Danny. I can't help it that you like to catch infectious diseases. Is that is that STI clearing up for you, or I shouldn't have said. I apologize. It's been a long Monday. I don't know if there's been like a bug going around. You know, Tammy Channing got sick here. I just assumed it was the allergies, because Channing would be fine one moment and sick the next. Fine one moment and then sick the next. Yeah. Aubrey says Thursday. Absolutely, Aubrey. Thank you for sharing. Ashley says Thursday's Thursday. Gets lots of love. Absolutely. Love Thursday. Dude, that's inappropriate. Is that your age or your IQ? That's really inappropriate. Channing got us sick. That's what I heard. But because one minute he would be fine and the next minute, I just assumed it was allergies. Maybe there was some weird bug going around. But I don't have any real wood. Knock on wood, it has not touched me. And I plan on keeping it that way. That's why I thought it wasn't real, because I mean, most people, you know, I usually catch whenever someone's got something, but Channing got Caleb sick, then Danny. I think it's the other way around. I think Caleb got Channing sick, and then he got Danny sick. I think it's all Caleb's fault. We're getting ready to jump into our next segment, right? We're not just talking about forgiveness. We're kind of just in the wellness vibe overall. But you know, they're on TikTok. Those of you who are joining us over there, we're up to 2,300 likes over there on TikTok. Thank you all for those likes. Hoping you're loving the content. For any new viewers, we gained a new follower over there. Aubrey, if you're still on here, give us a. If you're not already following us, give us a follow over there. But you guys should be seeing on the top of our thing, it says, let's get philosophical. Right? That's exactly what we're doing. We're getting a little philosophical today with some things. Marita says, Manic Monday, Taco Tuesday, Wild Out Wednesday. Ooh, I like that one. Throat Punch Thursday, and F, it's Friday. I like the Wild Out Wednesday. Throat Punch Thursday. That's a funny one. I like that one, Marita. I know, Marita. He's such a hater, right? I mean, I did ask him if he had an STI, so that's kind of on me. I'll take the blame. He always gets labeled as the bad kid, so I'll take it. I'll take one for the team. That was on me. I started it. I apologize. Whatever. F it Friday. Perfect. I'm going to be honest. I kind of like the F it Friday. I'm not going to lie. As much as I look forward to Fridays, some of my Fridays just get effed up. And I don't like it. I don't like it. But I like F it Friday. That's good. That might be my new one. Oh. All right, let's get into this next topic. As we've discussed before, when I'm recording this kind of short, 2 to 3 to 4 minute segment, right? I'm not necessarily interacting with chat, but feel free to interact with me as I'm kind of recording that, and then we'll kind of talk as we're coming through. All right, let's get into it. If you've never heard of the name Alan Watts, he was a British philosopher, writer, and speaker who basically became the voice of the Western world's existential crisis in the 1960s. He took deep ideas from Eastern philosophy like Buddhism, Taoism, and Hinduism, and translated them into something your stoned roommate could understand during a 3 a.m. dorm room chat. But don't let the chill vibes fool you. Watts was sharp. He asked big questions, poked holes in what we think of as reality, and reminded us that maybe life isn't a problem to be solved, but a song to be danced to. Watts once asked, "Why are you still here?" Not in a judgmental way, but in that curious, barefoot, sitting on a cliff sort of way. Maybe because the question isn't what's your purpose, maybe it's what the illusion you're still clinging to, or better yet, what would happen if you stopped trying so hard to be someone else. You are the universe pretending to be a person. Watt said, "You are something the whole universe is doing." So maybe you're still here because the universe isn't done playing as you yet. That voice in your head that asked, "What am I doing with my life?" might actually be the universe giggling through your mouth. Instead of asking why you're still here, and what if you asked, "What's it like to be here?" Just for today. Not for meaning, just for the experience. Watts also said, "We are always getting ready to live, but never living." That's the trap. Planning, fixing, escaping, never arriving. You're still here because there is nowhere else to be. Literally. The future doesn't exist yet. The past is a memory. This moment is all there ever is. If you can't escape the now, maybe your only job is to enjoy it before it becomes a memory. Maybe you're still here because you haven't laughed at the cosmic joke yet. Life is absurd. You work hard, you love deeply, and then you get a parking ticket on your birthday. Watts would say that the goal isn't control, it's to laugh with the chaos. What if being here isn't about winning, isn't about achieving, but learning how to enjoy the ride on the cosmic roller coaster, barf bag, and all. You're still here because life is less of a problem to solve and more of a dance to join. If you're looking for meaning, you might be missing the point. Watts said searching for life's meaning is like chasing your own shadow. The more you run, the more it dances just out of reach. You're still here not to find meaning, but maybe just to realize that meaning isn't whatever you decide it is. And that's terrifying and freeing. Maybe why am I still here is like asking, why is fire hot? It just is. The better question might be, what do I want to feel while I'm here? You're still here because being here is the point. You exist. That's already enough. No cosmic resume needed. You're not here to justify your existence. You're here because this moment wants to be witnessed. That sunrise wants to be seen by you. That laughter wants to come from your mouth. You're still here because why not? Maybe you're still here because this version of the universe, you, your voice, your laugh, was simply too good not to happen. And the moment you stop trying to prove anything, that's when you finally arrive. Because the world is better simply because you were in it. I never heard of Alan Watts before. I kind of saw some little philosophical stuff of his on TikTok. It's really powerful stuff. It kind of just brings you back, and it just makes you feel like you matter. Like you matter. Love this segment. See you next time. I have to go. Thanks, Marita. Thanks for being here. Love you. Be safe. Check us out on Wednesday. He doesn't sound like he believes in God. You know, I never thought about that perspective. Right? He's not really talking about it from a religious standpoint. But I'm glad you bring that up, because when we get to the next segment here in a little bit, we're going to kind of shift to kind of that mindset. Yeah, I never really thought about it from that point. I mean, what if, here's a different perspective. What if, wasn't he saying the universe? I mean, what if he is referring to God as the universe? Right? Maybe that's what he means. Maybe. I don't know. It's pretty deep. Pretty deep. I definitely encourage anyone who's kind of, just wants to know what it all means, right? Check out some of Alan Watts stuff. Some of it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Another miraculous Monday we're over here having, right? We're having a grand old time, right? I hope you all like these segments we come up with. I could write segments for days. It's one thing I do not have a issue creating. It's just a matter of kind of fitting it all into one little episode and not going overboard. That was something Danny and McDermott always told me when we were doing Brothers Chatter, is trying to cut down the topics. I was always worried we weren't going to have enough conversation, so I always wanted to have a couple extra in the bag, which, like I said, it's kind of hard when you have multiple people on there, because I could never tell when I'd come up with the topics what they were going to engage with, right? So it definitely made it somewhat difficult, but we had a good time. Over here it's a little bit easier for me to gauge. I try to, since we're small, I'm kind of engaging with all of the comments that come through. As we get bigger, I obviously won't be able to do that, but right, I can actually kind of plan out and time the event out a little bit better with this. So once again, we're live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Right, any new people joining us? Right, pretty much had our recurring members / viewers rejoining us. We did have a couple new people over on TikTok, which I appreciate. Appreciate you stopping by and even just dropping a comment or giving us a follow. I really appreciate that. I know with the TikTok, I've been kind of slacking a little bit on my videos, and I know a lot of you, really enjoy them. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the views. It's time consuming. I'm not gonna lie. It's time consuming coming up with those and then recording them and then editing them. Editing is the most difficult part. It's fun. I like doing it. I just wish there was more hours in the day. Or, I wish I was one of those people who could operate off of like 4 hours of sleep. If I could do that, then I would have more time. I'd give you all a TikTok every day. Short, Facebook reel, whatever. I'd give you any of that. But yeah, so I'm going to try to keep improving there. Right now, our only kind of recurring kind of TikTok short / reel is our off-brand thought segment, or off-brand thoughts segment that we'll be recording near the end of the stream. Right, our off-brand thought is just kind of our hot take on the day, maybe a little controversial, maybe kind of tie all three topics together a little bit. We kind of see depending on what the thing is. But as you can see, one of our mottos is we are off-brand yet on point. Charles Winfield, what's up, fam? Thanks for being here, buddy. Love you. Appreciate seeing you on here. So we're talking about forgiveness. Right, we just got done discussing why are you still here? Pretty powerful segment, right? Really powerful. I know for me, it always kind of just chokes me up a little bit when I think about it. But yeah, I know we're all here. We all have a place, right? I'm not saying we're all here to change the world, but you're here, and I meant what I said there at the end. You know, the world is better simply because you are in it. Not enough people believe that. Not enough people hear that you matter. You matter. Right? Brother from another mother. I like the way you put that. I have to stay off of TikTok because every time I open that app, I end up going down a rabbit hole, and next thing I know, 3 hours pass by. Listen, I was talking about this with my therapist this morning. These are made to be addicted. Great invention. I love them, but they're also a problem. Because I don't know, it's not just Americans, but definitely I can speak as an American. I can speak on American. We love to just consume, right? We just consume. And exactly, 3 hours will just pass by like that. I'm fortunate. After about 20 minutes, I have to kind of shift. My eyes will start to hurt. I almost feel like, like I'm starting to get a headache. So I'm fortunate 3 hours doesn't usually happen to me. But I get it. TikTok will send you down a rabbit hole. TikTok algorithms. Not just TikTok algorithms, but Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts. I mean, they're all kind of the same thing. Just the length of them is a little bit different. Charles, you matter to me, buddy. You matter to me. But no, I get it. TikTok is it's addictive. But it's a good app, right? The one thing I realized very quickly about this algorithm is TikTok's going to give you what you want, right? If you stay on a video for just a split second longer than other videos, that's content that you're at least somewhat interested in. If you watch the entire video, that's content you're really interested in. If you click like, which I always forget. That's why I don't really hate on the likes too much. I always forget to, I see videos all the time that I'm like, oh, that was a good video. I forget to click the like button. I have a bad habit of it too. I think kids are better at remembering that stuff. But that's how the algorithm works. And I'm sure YouTube and Facebook and any other social media short form videos will do the same. They know what you want. Right? And unfortunately, very quickly, you can kind of get the wrong stuff or you can get good stuff. Most of mine is usually filled with wellness related stuff. Dogs, just because I love puppies, especially when I first got Ellie and I was training her. Gardening, not so much of the gardening videos. I like gardening. I just really haven't had the time with everything else to do it. So I haven't been getting as many of those. Same thing with fishing videos. It gives you whatever you want. There's a video for everything. All right. I tell you what I like doing. I like the little and this is a little corny of me, but the face or the TikTok couples that kind of make, the little young couples, older couples that make the videos together. I just think they're so cute. Like I'm like, especially the young ones, like these little 20-something-year-olds that they, you can just tell, they love each other and they're doing these things together. I don't know. I like seeing them. They're cute. All right, we are getting ready to get into our final segment here in just a moment. But we're over here streaming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My wellness warriors, my self-care connoisseurs. Our self-care is on clearance. Self-care is on clearance, right? And personal growth should not have to require a subscription. Definitely shouldn't. Are you and the wife going to do any TikToks? That would be a negative, sir. She does not like being on camera. I think it'd be cool if she did. She won't. And that's okay. I respect that. But it would be cool. Charles, we'll get a wig for you and you can stand in. You can be my kind of, you can be your stunt double. You can stand in and be my wife, my significant other. If you like the background, I love that idea. Me too. If you like the background music, it's courtesy of the Relaxed Movement YouTube channel. which has copyright-free music. It's like a 12-hour long playlist just kind of playing in the background that we got going on, just to kind of fill the void when I'm not really interacting with people all that much. So if you like it, go over check out their channel. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just giving them a little bit of a shout out because I like their little playlist that they got. And so it's 12 hours, so it takes me a while to even get through one video. I'm not really, like I said, it's just kind of in the background. All right, let's get into our third and final segment before we do our off-brand thought. We're gonna slowly start to work into our wrap up here, but we're having a great Monday. We're super excited for the week. As I mentioned before, I took this week off of work, do some stuff around the house, around the outside, and yeah, hopefully it doesn't rain this week. Fingers crossed. Before we jump into our last segment, I want to share a moment with you from the movie Evan Almighty. It's a conversation between God, played by the only man qualified for the role, Morgan Freeman, and Evan's wife. She's feeling like her life is falling apart. Instead of fixing it for her, God drops something deeper, something that reframes everything. Check this out.
Oh, excuse me. Can I get a refill, please?
Coming right up. Excuse me. Are you all right?
Yeah. No. It's a long story.
Well, I like stories. I'm considered.
Guess it would help if I showed you guys the video, huh?
My husband? Have you heard of New York's Noah?
The guy who's building the ark.
That's him.
I love that story. Knowing the ark. You know, a lot of people miss the point of that story. They think it's about God's wrath and anger. They love it when God gets angry.
What is the story about then, the ark?
Well, I think it's a love story about believing in each other. You know, the animals showed up in pairs. They stood by each other, side by side, just like Noah and his family. Everybody entered the ark side by side.
But my husband says God told him to do it. What do you do with that?
Sounds like an opportunity. Let me ask you something. If someone prays for patience, you think God gives them patience? Or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? If they prayed for courage, does God give them courage, or does he give them opportunities to be courageous? If someone prayed for the family to be closer, do you think God zaps them with warm, fuzzy feelings? Or does he give them opportunities to love each other? Well, I gotta run. A lot of people to serve. Enjoy.
Every time I watch that, I feel like I've been politely but firmly handed a spiritual mirror. That line, if someone prays for patience, do you think God gives them patience, or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? That's just not Hollywood writing. That's real life. That's everyday faith in action. So let's talk about it. Let's break down what it really means when we say God gives us opportunity. Not in a poetic way, but in a messy, inconvenient, wildly beautiful type of way. In Evan Almighty, Morgan Freeman drops this gem. If someone prays for patience, do you think God gives them patience? Or does he simply give them the opportunity to be patient? This flips everything. God's not Amazon Prime. He's a gardener. He plants seeds in our lives, not finished products. We often think unanswered prayers mean silence, but maybe the answer came disguised as a challenge we didn't want to deal with. Divine timing looks like awkward inconvenience. Opportunities from God rarely show up labeled holy moment. They show up when you're tired, annoyed, underqualified, or late. It's that person you didn't want to talk to, the job you almost didn't apply for, the apology you didn't want to give. Growth starts right at the edge of your comfort zone. and God lives in that edge. The universe, or God, depending on your language, has a funny way of tapping us on the shoulder and saying, tag, you're it. Opportunity doesn't always feel good, but they're good for you. God's opportunities sometimes come wrapped in chaos. You lose the job and gain your purpose. You get rejected and redirected. You fall apart and finally meet the version of you that knows how to rebuild. In hindsight, the hardest moments are often the ones that shaped us the most. That wasn't failure. That was divine setup disguised as a plot twist. So you have to say yes to see the why. Opportunity is only opportunity if you recognize it and respond. That requires trust, often blind trust. Maybe you've been praying for change, but you keep ghosting the situations where change is possible. Saying yes might feel scary, but it's also sacred. Every yes to growth is a yes to becoming more of who you were created to be. All in all, you're not being tested, you're being trusted. The idea isn't God is testing me. That sounds like a cosmic pop quiz. The better frame is God is trusting you. You're trusted with influence, with growth, with healing, with moments that stretch you and reveal you at the same time. You're not just here by chance, you're here by invitation. So maybe when you ask God for strength, God didn't hand you muscles, He handed you mountains. When you asked for clarity, He gave you the fog and said, walk anyway. Because divine opportunity doesn't show up to impress you, it shows up to transform you. And your yes might be the start of something sacred. So take the risk, trust the process, and remember, just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's not divine. God doesn't always give us what we want, but He gives us what we need to become who we're meant to be. It may not be easy, and it may not be instant, but it might just be your clearance track calling. Say yes to the lesson, because self-care isn't always scented candles. Sometimes it's spiritual courage. Thought we'd put a little twist on that when we talk about the universe and God and what all of this stuff means together. We're still here. We're still here. I hate it when TikTok does that. Verification complete on TikTok. Hey, we're still here. We're still present. All right. Ashley says, difficult things happen to us and we don't always understand or question why. Sometimes we don't see it right away or we don't look at it from a different perspective. Agreed. Absolutely. I am a firm believer in karma. And when I say karma, I don't just mean what goes around comes around. I truly believe the universe, God, or whatever your deity of choice might be, I believe they work in mysterious ways, and they work for a reason. You just have to be willing to recognize that. If you're willing to recognize that and you can notice it when it's happening, you'll find you're a lot less frustrated. And, you start to grow a little bit. I actually had a very similar situation just today. I had a little bit of an issue with school where I had to meet with one of my professors. I don't want to get deep into it, but I was very anxious over the phone call because I really haven't had to do that yet. And earlier this morning, I was fine with it. Like I was thinking to myself, like, man, I handled that really well. And as the day went on, I started to kind of get a little bit nervous. And then right whenever I go to make the phone call, my internet starts to kind of start to act up. And it took me like 2 to 3 minutes to get through. I started panicking a little bit. Had to like take some deep breaths. I was like, all right, let's get this reset, man. Everything's going to be fine. And the phone call went fine. Everything was resolved. Everything's good. But it was just one of those things that, maybe I just need to slow down a little bit. Something else I was talking with my therapist is as mindful as I try to be, right? We talked about mindfulness on Friday. I'm constantly anymore. I'm on the go. I don't like to sit still. I really don't. Love you too, Channing. Pops. Yeah, I don't like to sit still for too long. So my motto is kind of become what's next. Right? Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being busy, but when you're always busy, sometimes you forget to sit back and smell the roses. Right? And that's a mindset I used to live by all the time, but the last 2 or 3 years I've been kind of more on the go, which is fine. But I think sometimes I need to, I guess, kind of take a step back. And today's event kind of opened that up for me. So that's exactly what I'm going to start doing a little bit. Just sitting back and taking a breather. Just enjoying life just for a moment as good as we can. So, Yellowstone eruption guy, you heard it first from what? Thanks, Geralt. I'm not quite sure what that means. Yellowstone eruption. They've been talking about that for a while. It's due to erupt at some point. What is this? Heads up, we've detected video on your stream. Oh, that's because I played a thing from a movie. Guess I'll have to watch doing that on YouTube. Oh well, we're not monetized yet, so lesson learned. YouTube flagged us, I guess, for playing that clip from Evan Almighty. What? It's for learning purposes. Really? Come on now. I'm not claiming it as my own. I'll throw a link in the description. Monetization. Gotta love it. Movie quote. I must have missed the reference then. Sorry about that, Geralt. But thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks for the likes. All right, we're up to 2,400 likes over there on TikTok. We're not quite at our 17,000 that we hit last week, but that's okay. That's okay. We're having fun over here. We're doing our thing. We're living the dream, right? Or when I feel like being cynical, I always like to say, or someone else's nightmare. I've always been more of an optimist. I gotta throw in the pessimistic portion every once in a while. But we're kind of slowly wrapping up. We have one more segment we're gonna do, which is our off-brand thought. Right? I hope you like this one. Kind of goes with the flow what we've been talking about. Today's episode, we've discussed forgiveness. Right? How that's the key to success in your life. We jumped into philosophy a little bit, talking about why are you still here? Because you matter. And then we just did a little part about how God gives us opportunity, kind of borrowing that from the movie Evan Almighty. If you haven't seen it, it's actually a really good movie. I don't know. I this isn't really a movie talk, but it kind of got me thinking, the difference, Bruce Almighty versus Evan Almighty. Evan Almighty was, I guess, the spin-off sequel to Bruce Almighty. I love the original, the first one. Jim Carrey's a great actor, but I love Steve Carell. I love Steve Carell in pretty much anything he's ever done. And I like the kind of message a little bit more in Evan Almighty. I'm just saying, yeah, Charles says I love Bruce Almighty. I'm just saying I don't know though. I might have to start to lean a little bit more towards Evan Almighty. Sequels aren't always better. I kind of like the message at the end of that one a little bit more though. I don't know. They're both good movies. I'll have to watch them again and think about that one. All right, let's record our off-brand thoughts. This will be uploaded as a TikTok, Facebook Reel, and if I can keep it under 60 seconds, a YouTube short. Right? Godfather 2 is great. That is true. That is true where the sequel is definitely better than the original. Although the original was also really good. It was just kind of slow. But Godfather 2 was the better of them. And then Godfather 3 was like the redheaded stepchild. It was alright. I still kind of liked it, other than the incest stuff with the cousin and the daughter, and that was kind of weird. But whatever. Alright, off-brand thoughts. Let's get into this. You've heard it 1,000 times. Wake up early, take a cold shower, hit the gym, power through, no excuses. But let's be real, that's not discipline. That's performance art. And it's unsustainable. Not because hard work is bad, but because forcing yourself into discipline is a lifestyle built on self-rejection. You don't need discipline to change. What you need is to stop fighting yourself. Because here's the truth. You will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. Think about it. When was the last time you had to force yourself to scroll through social media, to binge watch a TV show, to procrastinate? Exactly. You didn't. Because those things align with your identity. That's why they feel effortless. Now compare that to going to the gym, waking up early, working on your goals. Why do those things feel like resistance? It's not because they're hard. It's because they contradict who you subconsciously believe yourself to be. And this is where people get it twisted. You're not failing because you lack discipline. You're failing because your actions don't match your identity. Every action is either strengthening or weakening the story you tell yourself. And if that story sounds like I'm lazy, I'm undisciplined, I hate hard work, guess what? Your brain starts seeking proof. Even when you succeed, you sabotage it. Why? Because success feels like an imposter suit, not something tailored for you. That's why lottery winners go broke, and why people who lose everything but believe they're wealthy rebuild from the ashes. Success isn't about discipline, it's about what feels normal. So here's the real work. Don't force new actions. Change what feels like home. If the gym feels like punishment, you'll need willpower. If movement feels like who you are, you'll crave it. If reading feels like a chore, it'll take motivation. If you believe you're someone who devours knowledge, that motivation becomes irrelevant. Discipline doesn't fail you, your identity does. And once your identity is aligned, your actions follow like muscle memory. So don't force change, become the person who doesn't need forcing. Because once success feels like home, the struggle ends. And that's our off-brand thought of the day. And honestly, that's kind of what the purpose of that one is. You know, Dashi says, I feel attacked. The part that really hit me on that is you don't have to force yourself to pick up your phone. You don't have to force yourself to just sit around like a couch potato, and that those things just come naturally to us. But why is it the things that are supposed to be good for us, right? Why do we hear the things that are supposed to be good for us, reading, eating healthy, working out, whatever it might be, why do those things kind of feel like it's like pushing into it? It's because deep down inside, that's who we are, right? That discipline takes months, maybe even years to develop, to eventually get to a point to where that is who you now are. Perfect example, right? Anybody who knows me knows I'm always trying to improve. Personal growth is another one of my mottos. And I go to the gym pretty regularly. But every morning, I still have to force myself to get up and go. I literally have had to look at myself in the mirror, and excuse my language here, don't be a bitch. I've literally had to tell myself that. Because immediately in my head, because I get up first thing in the morning and go, I don't need to go today. I can take a break. I'll go tomorrow. Right? Man, I'm really comfortable in this bed. I could use about 20 more minutes of sleep. Right? Man, it's raining outside. I don't like working out when it rains. My wrist starts to hurt. Well, I'm going to cut the grass later, so that counts as exercise. Just saying. There's 1,001 excuses from even someone who, is relatively healthy. Right? So, as I've said before, no judgment towards any of you. If you're struggling to maintain wellness, I get it. I've been there. It's kind of part of the reason that I started this channel. This channel is kind of part of my wellness journey. I'm just inviting you all for the ride. And I'm loving having you all here. Those of you who love the content or like the content, thank you for being here. Right, as we go on this journey, as I've shared before, and I will continue to say, I'm not an expert in anything we are talking about. I'm a student of wellness, and I want to hear from you all too, because you could enlighten me, and I hope that you do, because I don't need to know everything, but I like to learn. I like to learn. That's my biggest thing. So with that being said, it's like I believe myself to be someone who is not a morning person. So I'm identifying myself that way and not even giving myself a real shot to try to be. I hate waking up in the mornings. That's a great example, Ashley. I hear so many people who sit there and say, yeah, I'm not a morning person. I need my coffee before anybody talks to me. Or those people who, hits the snooze button 20 times or has 5 different alarms set in fear that they might oversleep. I've been there. I think the biggest key is to keep moving forward. Give yourself credit for the work you've done. And this is the part of me, this is where my personal opinion comes in. Take it for what it's worth, if it's worth anything to you. Give yourself credit for what you've done, but also look at yourself. You can do more and keep pushing. Right? Love who you are, but don't be satisfied. Keep pushing forward. All right. But give yourself credit. Don't put yourself down. Don't put yourself down. How's it going, Brooke? What topic shall we debate? I don't do much debating over here. I mean, occasionally we might. We don't really get controversial over here. Exactly, actually. And who would know better than you? That's dialectics. What topics shall we debate? Yeah, we don't really, we don't do politics over here. We don't get political. We don't really debate much over here. It's kind of hard for me to debate with chat anyways, because it's usually some of the delay. But, thank you all for being here. We don't debate over here, but feel free to stop on by if wellness is your thing. Do I know much about space? A little bit. There's a lot of it. I know that. There's a lot of space out there. A lot of space, right? Earlier, you missed part of the segment. Earlier, we were talking about why you're still here and why the universe put you here and why you matter. So yeah, is that the space you're referencing? Ashley says doing great can push you to do better. I had to throw in the DBT. Listen, I love DBT. And all the things our employer has thrown at us, DBT is the one thing that I've really enjoyed. I just hope that we can do it justice. And I know your team's working hard on that. I know they are. How do I think the universe began? The theories are pretty interesting. That's some deep conversation. I don't know. Maybe we can throw that in as a topic another time. But we're mostly a wellness channel, but I do like the conspiracy side of things. I do like to kind of throw that in there as well. Do I necessarily believe in the Big Bang Theory? I don't know. That seems a little. I don't know. That might be a little far-fetched. I'm not an expert in it, so I don't really want to necessarily say one way or another. But yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll talk that on another one. I've almost thought about maybe having like a late night, BBW After Dark, off-brand and off-topic type of live stream where we kind of talk about conspiracy type stuff. Maybe we'll do that one. Like, where did the universe begin? We can share our thoughts on there. So, Brooke, if you want to give us a follow there on TikTok or check out us other places, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Keep an eye out for future streams. Maybe we'll have something. Charles said we believe in positive development. Agreed. All right, guys. I love you all, but I think we're gonna wrap this thing up. Like I said, we owe about an hour. Right, hour and 15. We'll push an hour and a half if we have to, but I want to try to keep them a little bit shorter. My previous show, people tended not to stick around for those full ones. We're gonna try to keep these between an hour and hour 15. So let's wrap this up with our little closing. All right, I want you guys to all know that I love you and I appreciate you being here. If this episode had you journaling, side-eyeing your old beliefs, or dramatically whispering, "Oh no, that's me," then we've done our job. We've challenged identity. We've questioned struggle. We've reframed forgiveness. And hopefully, we reminded you that self-care isn't just bath bombs and boundaries. It's soul excavation with a discount tag. So whether you're forgiving others, stepping into divine opportunity, or finally realizing that the gym isn't the enemy, your self-concept might just be the blueprint. And remember, you don't need to force change. You just need to become the person who no longer resists it. Thanks for joining us in the deep end tonight. And until next time, make it worth your wellness.